Fans, welcome back to Giants Latest. Today we are catching up on some updates throughout the week that have happened before we turn the page and talk about the Chiefs on Sunday. So let's go ahead and start with this. We have some injury updates from the Cowboys game on Sunday, starting with Darius Muasau, who's in the concussion protocol. So we will get an injury update Wednesday, end of day, and that's when on Thursday we'll go ahead and talk about the injury report from practice. Hopefully we'll have an Andrew Thomas update, but for now, just some issues with the linebackers and things. So Darius Muasau is in concussion protocol, so I don't know how much he'll practice this week, if at all. Chris Board left Sunday's game with a chest injury, which Dan Duggan said it typically means some sort of torn pec. If that's the case, we might not see him again for the rest of the season. Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, who is one of their other linebackers, aggravated his calf last week, so he didn't end up traveling to Dallas. And then, of course, we have Micah McFadden, who got surgery on his foot and is out for, we don't really know how long yet. So in the meantime, the Giants made some roster moves. But first, let's talk about a couple players that they ended up working out and then the players that they ended up signing. So they worked out a few players: Liam Anderson, Raekwon Davis, Neville Hewitt, Curtis Jacobs, Casey Osai, and John Tupou. Now, they usually do these workouts and stuff on Tuesday and then go ahead and sign players. So these are the roster moves that they went ahead and ended up making after bringing in these players for a workout. So Chris Board, they moved to the reserve and injured list, so he seems like he's going to be out for a little bit. They added 3 players to the practice squad, one of them, which is wide receiver Dalen Cambry, who I'm sure you all will remember from the summer and from preseason. He dealt with some injury issues throughout the summer, but he was a decent wide receiver in the beginning of camp. He was one of the guys who was looking like he was going to be that 6th wide receiver roster spot, and then due to some injuries, he didn't get a ton of playing time in preseason and ultimately did not end up making the 53. He is back with the team, and he is now on the practice squad. He also has special teams experience, so keep that in mind. And they added 2 other linebackers to the practice squad. One is linebacker Neville Hewitt, who has been in the league for a long time, has almost 200 career games, and I think I saw almost 500 tackles. So a lot of experience in the NFL at the linebacker position, which is great. They're bringing in a veteran here to obviously help bring in some depth behind that linebacker 2 spot. And then they also brought in linebacker Curtis Jacobs, another practice squad signing. In my opinion, I think if they're going to elevate anyone from the practice squad, it's probably going to be Neville Hewitt because he does have so much of that experience. They also made a couple other roster moves. They signed linebacker Swayze Bozeman, who ended up playing against the Cowboys. They signed him from the practice squad to the 53-man roster. And then they ended up cutting 2 players from the practice squad: tight end Kadir Ismail and defensive back Patrick McMorris. So definitely some moves that they made. We'll see if any of these linebackers will contribute against the Chiefs, if they're able to make any plays. The thing that I'm most disappointed in when it comes to these roster moves and things like that is the fact that Evan Neal is still on this 53-man roster, taking up a roster spot, but he's not actually dressing on game day. He's completely inactive. So that is absolutely frustrating. And I don't know what the deal is there, but maybe they'll figure it out or make some sort of move at some point. And the same thing goes for Jalen Hyatt, except he is dressed on game day. He just has not played a single snap. So I can't figure out for the life of me what their deal is with these 2 guys. The thing that's so frustrating is we know that they obviously care about optics, right? And their argument could be something along the lines of, well, we don't want people to think that we gave up on these players. Well, you did. Evan Neal is not even dressed on game day, and Jalen Hyatt is dressed and not playing a single snap. So the optics to someone like me and anyone else who pays attention to this football team is that they have given up on those players. So just cut the cord and move on. I don't understand what the issue is, but they are both wasting spots on the 53-man roster that could be literally anyone else. It could be a backup tackle. It could be a backup offensive lineman, interior offensive line. It could be another linebacker. It could be a wide receiver, running back, someone they could use on special teams. Literally anyone. But no, let's just keep wasting it for 2 guys who are not going to play. Make it make sense. I don't know how, but maybe someone will. Anyway, I want to talk about this because the Giants are obviously not the only 0-2 team in the league. And we were talking about this on Giants Collective, so I thought it was interesting to see how the Giants match up compared to some of the rest of the other 0-2 teams in the league. So we'll go through division here, starting with the AFC East, the Jets and the Dolphins. I think there are a lot of teams that are better than the Miami Dolphins, and I sure as hell think that the New York Giants are one of them. The Jets are a little bit hit or miss to me. I have not been able to watch their games in full, but obviously I know that they had a tough showing against Buffalo. Buffalo's a damn good football team, so I'm not surprised there, but I am surprised that they played so much better week 1 and fell off in week 2. So they seem like they're kind of hit or miss to me, and we'll see how that continues. Next up for the AFC North, they have Cleveland, who's also 0-2. I don't have a lot of faith in Cleveland this year. I think the Giants are better than them. Next up in the AFC South, we have the Texans and the Titans. I think the Giants are definitely better than the Titans. I think the Titans have some good talent, and I have a lot of faith in Cam Ward. Love him as a football player. I think he's going to be good. I think they just need time to help build up the roster around him, and it's not going to be this year. The Texans, I think, are a better football team. The game against the Bucs on Monday night was super fun to watch. I mean, how could you not like Baker Mayfield? He's a competitor. He's tough. Led them down that game-winning drive. I mean, what a great game for the Bucs. They are 2-0, and they are looking pretty damn good. So I think, the Texans kept it close. I think they're a better team than their schedule shows so far. AFC West, we have the Chiefs, of course. I think they're a better team than 0-2, but I think they're absolutely not the Chiefs of yesteryear. I think the best thing about the Chiefs right now is Andy Reid, followed by Patrick Mahomes, but he does not look like the Mahomes who won the MVP in the Super Bowl just a few years ago. I love it. I'm so sick of the Chiefs. I'm sick of dynasties and these teams that win back to back to back. I don't think it's fun for the sport, and I don't think it's fun in general. So let someone else have some fun. There's 31 other teams. So, Giants better go out on Sunday and beat the Chiefs. We need that. Next up, the NFC North, the Bears. I am really disappointed in the Bears. I have to tell you, I had a lot of faith in them for the last 2 years. They put a lot of money into their offensive line. They brought in Ben Johnson. They drafted Caleb Williams. They brought in some wide receivers, some good talent. Odunze looked good. They've invested in this team, and it's really frustrating that it hasn't shown up just yet. I think it will. I think it's just going to take a little bit of time with all of the adjustments that they have had over the last couple years, especially bringing in a new head coach who's never been a head coach before. I think Johnson's going to be fine. I think Caleb Williams is going to be fine. I think they just need more time. But man, I was really hoping that they were going to get it together this year and look a lot better, and I'm definitely disappointed. And look, the Lions are a damn good football team. They dropped 52 points on them. They're a good team. So we'll see if the Bears can bounce back this week, but I think the Giants are a hell of a lot better than them. NFC South, the Saints and the Panthers. Oh, man. I know we talk about the Giants being a real bad organization, but the Panthers, oh my God, are worse, and I am glad that the Giants are not as bad as them. I think the Saints are also not great. I love Spencer Rattler, former Gamecock, so I'm rooting for him, but I think they have a lot of issues over there. They played a little bit more competitively than I thought they would have, but I think from the 0-2 teams, it's the Giants and the Chiefs who are looking, and the Texans who are looking like they're probably the most competitive out of the group. So Giants take on the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. It's their home opener. I just want the Giants to look competitive. I think ultimately the Giants can stack up well against them. I don't think they're going to put up anywhere close to 37 points, but I think they've shown that they are now a team who's capable of having a little bit of success in the red zone. They need to be more consistent. They need to clean up the penalties, the biggest thing they have to do from week 1 to week 2. And Shane Bowen absolutely needs to get his shit together, and the players also have to communicate more, because there were a lot of plays that after watching them on film, there were absolutely communication breakdowns. And at the end of the day, it stems from the coaching staff that they have to be detail oriented and they have to instill this in the players. And it's the same thing for the penalties. The players have to execute, but they have to be taught it day in and day out at practice, and it has to be drilled through their heads. And I think at this point that is not the case with this coaching staff. It's been evident over the last 3 years that they are not very detail oriented. And I think if you want to win football games, especially against someone like Andy Reid, you better clean that up. So we're going to talk more about Giants versus Chiefs. We're really going to dive into the injuries tomorrow. So hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all things Giants.